going to Wayne Madsen of WayneMadsenReport.com. Of course, he worked for the National Security Agency, for the Navy and Security. He's written for some of the biggest publications in the country. And we're honored to have him joining us because he's got a lot of intel on plans for evacuations in the Gulf. We now see Council on Foreign Relations members and others who are in the news, like the Washington Post, saying that they may have an evacuation of 20 million people when that oil comes ashore. But I wanted to finish up with Brandon and Kurt, both in the military, and then we'll continue into the next hour discussing this headline: New York National Guard units scanned vehicles for gun confiscation. So now they're in Illinois, California, you name it, engaging in gun confiscation, actual operations. And that video from Fox 23 in New York is up on prisonplanet.com right now in Paul Joseph Watson's article. So going to Brandon and Kurt. Brandon, give us your take on this.
Yes, Alex, thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you do. I'm going to talk real quick because I know you don't have much time. I was stationed in San Diego. I've purchased all your DVDs. I've showed my command, like a lot of people at my command that I work with. Woken a lot of people up. My apartment complex there, woken a lot of people up. Now I'm stationed in Virginia. I've woke up my whole entire street. And even my cable man, I mentioned something. I just got home. He was hooking this stuff up. I had my uniform on. He said, thank you so much for you and your stature, because I was wearing my uniform. That I would talk because most people put them down, call them conspiracy theorists and stuff like that.
Well, so, that's their rationalization, but to not defend America. But it's now admitted world government's here. It's now admitted a private banking takeover is happening, and they're creating a new global currency. But you are saying you have had a good response. What percentage of people were favorable on the military base?
Actually, I got about 8 out of 10. Actually, one of my current coworkers actually called me a terrorist himself, and I was like, you don't even get it, but I had help from the other coworkers. So you're a terrorist because you believe that there's corrupt elements in the government that are taking our freedom? I mean, as a member of the military, you're supposed to defend the republic from enemies foreign and domestic, and you're supposed to follow the Constitution. Yep. And two quick more things. That cable guy's actually going to come by this week and burn a couple of your discs, copy a couple of your videos so we can show it to his family. And the last one, I'm part of the oil response team, and we're gearing up. We're leaving next week to the Gulf, and a couple other guys are leaving in a couple of weeks to the Gulf, where they said they're going to issue us desert camo uniforms. That's kind of dumb since we all have uniforms. For some reason, they're going to do that. I asked about respirators, and they said that was no need. So I'm going to finish up with this. Not only the government has boots on the ground, but you got boots on the ground too, Alex, and I'll definitely keep you guys informed and updated.
Absolutely. Wonderful information, Brandon. I mean, very powerful information. We have so many military people calling us, and snipers, intelligence officers, engineers, which makes sense, engineers being sent to the Gulf, regular Army. And they're now talking about possible evacuation. We'll be talking to Wayne Madsen here in just a moment about that. But yeah, they're on record. BP is on record saying no respirators are needed. There's no toxic fumes, because if they admit there's toxic fumes, they would then be liable. Everyone knows there's toxic fumes. The average life expectancy of Exxon Valdez workers is 51 years. The government admits that, from the dioxin and toxins and benzene in the oil and the dispersants. And so a lot of these people have already died, or they're in the hospital, and that's why they're saying nobody can videotape. Nobody can talk to these workers. They send them to BP hospitals, BP clinics. I mean, this is one hell of a cover-up. We're going to Wayne Madsen to get his inside scoop on that in just a moment. Finishing up with Kurt, and we're going right to Wayne. Kurt in Deutschland, who's in the Army. Welcome, Kurt.
Hello, sir.
Hello, go ahead.
Real quick, I just wanted to tell you, with all the chemicals you talk about on your show, I do a lot of research on them, and one of the things I've been using to sort of open people's eyes a little bit when they don't believe me is the material safety data sheets. All these chemicals, any chemical made, has material safety data sheets made by the companies that make them.
Oh, that's a great point. So for sodium fluoride, you show them the skull and crossbones, the organ failure, the sterilization. For the silicone, they put in chicken McNuggets. You can show them the data sheet on that, how deadly it is. For all these chemicals they put in our food and water, you can show them the documents. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and I think the funniest thing is the reaction you get, because first they start laughing when you start telling them, yeah, sodium fluoride's poisonous. They'll laugh at you, so I come back with the material safety data sheet and put it on the table like, it's poisonous. There you go. But, and I just wanted to say, there is a lot of people waking up in the military. I'm in the Army. I'm stationed in Illesheim, Germany. And I have the show on while I'm at work, and I talk to a lot of people about it. And everybody I talk to says that they're not going to take guns from American citizens, from unarmed civilians. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I know I know most of the military and police I talk to say that. The problem is we saw what happened in Katrina. Most of them did follow the orders. So individually they're saying no, but in that group think they're following orders. That's why we need to have this debate and discussion now. But what do you think about this huge long-term covert operation to acclimate not just the troops and the police, but the public as well to accept this? I mean, this is 23 years old. I mean, that's how far back we can prove it. A huge covert gun confiscation preparation program. I mean, that's creepy.
I just don't understand how people, I mean, it's going on all around you. That I try to tell people that just look around you. When I'm talking to people, when I call the states back home, I'm trying to tell them, like, if you don't believe me, just look around you, read the news, like, read anything. How can you not see this happening right in front of you?
God bless you, Kurt. Good to hear from you. Here's an example. I was driving to my parents this weekend with my children, and I was on 360, and I looked over at the fire department, and I saw military uniforms with police and with, no, that was about a month ago that I saw the military and the police. This was out by Lake Travis this weekend. I saw the, again, I'm just having a flashback to this. I saw the fire department, military, and police all running around doing some hazmat drill, and I didn't have time to pull over and even look at it because I had that limited time with my family. But that's just an example how it's just going on everywhere. And it seems reasonable to have the military training with police. But then they always have it first, oh, we're doing hazmat drills. And then next, we're going to help you get the guns. And by the way, I have from 1998 the internal Army documents from Fort Hood that are in my film Police State II: The Takeover, where they admit we are here for bomb disposal and for anti-firearms operations. So this has been going on quietly in the background. Now it's coming to the fore because they know it's almost impossible to defeat something that slowly infiltrates, that slowly takes over. All right, Wayne Madsen of Wayne Madsen Report is our guest. Wayne's always given us really good intel. And we just heard a military man say that he's being deployed from Virginia, regular Army, down to the Gulf. And we now see the Washington Post talking about 20 million evacuated. Wayne Madsen, from your intelligence agency sources in D.C. and from your sources there at the press club, what's the inside scoop?
Well, I reported back in May that there were plans to evacuate millions of people. The first people to be evacuated would be those who have respiratory problems. I know several who are now seeing BP doctors who are saying there's a number of people coming into these BP medical facilities. They're complaining of respiratory ailments, and some have been diagnosed with what's known as chemical pneumonia. I know one person who actually has been diagnosed with that by BP, and now people's pets are beginning to suffer from the same ailment. So we have basically BP engaged in a huge PR operation. They've hired every big-time PR firm here in Washington, and I'm surprised that the Washington Post is even hinting at evacuations, because one of the problems we're seeing with the press is that their editors are contacting their legal departments because these companies that own the media may have vested interests with BP or Halliburton or these other companies involved in this oil disaster, and I think that's a problem. And that's why next week I'm going to the Gulf, because I want to see for myself what's going on down there. There's been reports of journalists and photojournalists being arrested. So I'm going down there. I'll be in Plaquemine Parish I'll go over to Alabama, Mississippi, and Pensacola Beach to see firsthand what's going on, and I will document with photos and interviews and whatnot what I find out.
Wayne, expanding on that, because you did, over a month and a half ago, you were one of the first people that I saw start talking about how they were going to evacuate the Gulf. I want to flesh that out and talk more about what your sources there in D.C. are telling you, but specifically, all the evidence I have says that this was deliberately blown, that they gave orders to Anadarko and Halliburton that they knew would cause the well to come in early and to spill, and that it is a pretext to sell the carbon tax that BP and Enron founded with Al Gore back in the mid-1990s because their whole program is stalled, and it was meant to be a political distraction for the upcoming attack on Iran. And now you see 7